Exodus chapter 38. He maketh the altar of holocaust, the brazen laver, the court with its pillars and hangings, the sum of what the people offered. He made also the altar of holocaust of sedim wood, 5 cubits square, and 3 in height. The horns whereof went out from the corners, and he overlaid it with plates of brass. And for the uses thereof he prepared diverse vessels of brass, and cauldrons, tongs, flesh hooks, pot hooks, and firepans. And he made a grate thereof of brass, in manner of a net, and under it, in the middle of the altar, a hearth, casting 4 rings at the 4 ends of the net at the top, to put in bars to carry it. And he made the bars of sedim wood, and overlaid them with plates of brass. And he drew them through the rings that stood out in the sides of the altar. And the altar itself was not solid, but hollow, of boards, and empty within. He made also the layer of brass with the foot thereof, of the mirrors of the women that watched at the door and the tabernacle. He made also the court in the south side, whereof were hangings of fine twisted linen of 100 cubits, 20 pillars of brass with their sockets, the heads of the pillars, and the whole graving of the work of silver. In like manner, at the north side of the hangings, the pillars and the sockets and the heads of the pillars were of the same measure and work in metal. But on that side that looketh to the west, there were hangings of 50 cubits, 10 pillars of brass, with their sockets, and the heads of the pillars, and all the engravings of the work of silver. Moreover, towards the east he prepared hangings of 50 cubits, 15 cubits, of which were of one side with 3 pillars and their sockets, and on the other side, for between the two, he made the entry of the tabernacle, where there were hangings equally of 15 cubits and 3 pillars and as many sockets. All the hangings of the court were woven with twisted linen, and the sockets of the pillars were of brass, and their heads with all their gravings of silver, and he overlaid the pillars of the court also with silver. And he made in the entry thereof an embroidery hanging of violet, purple, scarlet, fine twisted linen, that was 20 cubits long and 5 cubits high, according to the measure of all the hangings of the court. And the pillars in the entry were 4 with sockets of brass, and their heads engravings of silver. The pints also of the tabernacle and of the courts round about he made of brass. These are the instruments of the tabernacle of the testimony, which were counted according to the commandment of Moses, and the ceremonies of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the priest, which Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, had made as the Lord commanded by Moses, having for his companion Eliab, the son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, who also was an excellent artificer of wood, and worker of tapestry and embroidery of violet, scarlet, and fine linen. All of the gold that was spent in the work of the sanctuary and that was offered for gifts was 29 talents, and 730 sickles, according to the standard of the sanctuary, and was offered to them that went to be numbered, from 20 years old and upward. Of 603,550 men able to bear arms. These were moreover 100 talents of silver, whereof were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, and of the entry where the veil hangeth. 100 sockets were made of 100 talents, 1 talent being reckoned for every socket. And of the 1,775 he made the heads of the pillars, which also he overlaid with silver. And there were offered of brass also 72,000 talents, and 400 sickles besides, of which were cast the sockets in the entry in the tabernacle of the testimony, and the altar of brass, and the grate thereof, and all the vessels that belong to the use thereof, and the sockets of the court as well round about at the entry thereof, and the pins of the tabernacle, and the court round about. One thing I noticed about reading this is there were a lot of folk. God really did cause Israel to flourish when it was in slavery under Egypt. And they had wealth and power because they hoped in the Lord. Sometimes when we're also suffering, maybe we're secretly also growing in ways we don't see, but that God knows and watches over us. Maybe. Have a great day.